So the big question is this: how do voiceover artists like us who are looking to take our careers to the next level, but don't buy into the claims of needing expensive equipment and demos, start bringing in new clients? How do you follow a clear path to changing your voiceover side hustle into your full-time job and stick it to those that said you couldn't? Those are the questions, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Earl Hall, and welcome to In the Booth with Earl Hall, where we know how to grind and don't quit. Welcome in, everyone, to another edition of In the Booth with Earl Hall. I'm honored today to be with Will Stoff. Am I saying the last name right, Will?
You had. Wow, amazing.
Okay. With that. But, you know, there's all of this. We're going to be talking, obviously, about Fiverr today. And let me start off by saying this. Fiverr is one of those, it's the 800-pound gorilla in the room when it comes to voiceover, and many times. People, either you love it or you hate it. I look at it as a marketplace to market what we have. Some people, have some horrible things to say about Fiverr. Some of them, or much of it, is valid about what they say about certain practices and things that people have on Fiverr. And then you've got the people that are crushing it on Fiverr. And I think somewhere in there, you've got to, or we all have to figure out where we fit, what kind of rates we're going to charge, how we're going to present ourselves, and how we're going to use this platform, which many people out here in many different genres are crushing it. Whether you're a graphic designer, a copywriter, a blogger, or a voiceover artist, like we are. Well, give me a little synopsis of your experience on Fiverr and how long you've been on Fiverr.
Sure. I've been on Fiverr probably about a year and a half. I think it's roughly about, actually it's about 2 years.
Okay.
At June. I think in June it'll be officially 2 years I've been on Fiverr. And, to be honest with you, it was one of these deals where somebody at work just kind of turned me on to it. He just kind of mentioned it just off the cuff, and I decided to check it out, and it really just kind of propelled me in the world of voiceover, to be honest with you, because I've been in radio for almost 20 years, and I've just kind of played a little with voiceover, not much, but Fiverr was really the launching pad that really just kind of really made me think about this deal about being a voiceover artist and how it is attainable. And I think Fiverr was really the one thing that got me sparked in that direction. And just seeing it take off has just been mesmerizing. And my wife is just like blown away.
Well, of course. Yeah, they love that money, don't they?
Oh, yeah. I'm spending it too, you bet.
Absolutely. Now, with the process that you've gone through on Fiverr, tell me a little bit about what you think it is about Fiverr that people don't like.
I think when you hear about the whole $5 thing, it is a turnoff. And I know there's a little bit of history with Fiverr that when they first started out, everything was $5, nothing was above it.
Right.
And
right.
that just really soured the voiceover community. And I think most people know that. But I think when it comes to it, I think they feel like, not getting the results they want, not getting any orders coming in, the orders being too skimpy. There's people out there that want way too much for just a small amount of money. And I think that can be a little bit devaluing yourself, because you feel like, well, I'm a voiceover artist. I know what industry rates are. I know what I'm capable of doing, and I deserve a lot more. And I think that can be very frustrating to people, and especially if they don't see orders coming in and how to get, and they feel a little bit lost in the process. And I think that really kind of grades on people to some extent, and that can be a huge downer for folks.
And I agree. I think that one of the main things about that whole pricing issue, or devaluing the industry, is some people want to say we're devaluing the voiceover industry, or some of us that are charging $5 for ridiculous work to do. I think people have to realize and understand you can charge what you want on Fiverr. Yeah. It's not so much you devaluing, it's more so I think you devaluing yourself based on the rates that you charge or what you're comfortable charging. And I think one of the things that comes into play is that especially someone that's brand new in the voiceover industry, they feel like they're not worthy.
Hmm.
They're not worthy of charging more than $5 for something, and they're scared to charge something that's closer to industry rates. Now, I found that I've been able to charge closer to industry rates on Fiverr. Mind you, I don't pay a lot of attention to Fiverr, but I'll get gigs in, and I don't have a gig, or I didn't have any gigs that were under $100 on Fiverr. Of course, when I started out, I actually thought I was supposed to charge $5.
Right,
You
right.
know, and I think that's the thing. I think people they come into this brand new and they think all I can charge is $5,
Mhm.
which is a misnomer, and it's not true. Obviously, I think there are some things that you can do for $5 that will be a gateway into charging more. But it's learning how to, for lack of a better word, game the system to see what's going to actually work. With the new algorithm change that everyone has been complaining about, that I vaguely understand with that, has that affected you much with the new algorithm change that came at the beginning of the year?
I don't think so, and I think the biggest part of it is kind of a fundamental thing when it comes to Fiverr, is that there's
Mm-hmm.
a couple of essential things that make your gig work, and that is getting the amount of orders coming in and getting the amount of reviews. And I think people that it's if you go to some of the forums
Right.
on there, you'll have people that have been there for years that are doing absolutely nothing, and all they do is complain on there. And it's always the algorithm's fault or it's this fault. I think it does play into some extent, and I think there have been some hiccups in the past that people have been frustrated because a lot of these social media type companies
Uh
are
huh.
always they're always tinkering with things, and sometimes the tinker throws people off, and other times the tinker is actually very helpful and useful as a tool.
Yeah.
But I think the big part of it too is getting the amount of orders in, getting the amount of reviews in on a regular basis, and then eventually
Mm-hmm.
you are slowly but surely raising your rates and getting the price. So
Mm-hmm.
those three combinations of those working for you in your favor, it's not gonna matter when it comes to algorithms. I think we get in a position too that you're not getting the results, and then all of a sudden, well, what is it? Is it me? Is it the algorithm's fault? Is it because of the season? Is it because I'm not doing this or that? You start doing this whole
Right.
self-doubt charade, and a lot of times that has really nothing to do with it, and more times it's just us when it comes down to it, not doing certain things that we could be doing to really make our gig stand out and get and attract more traffic.
There was, I'm going to get into some of the nuts and bolts of your success here in a moment because I want to obviously share that with people so they can actually go out and start executing on some of these things. But when we're talking about the algorithm, one of the things that I mentioned on the live stream I did briefly on yesterday, I kind of smacked people on the hand for doing gig swaps. And I explained it in a way that this is why algorithms change. The algorithm, and especially when we're talking about a site like Fiverr, if you notice all the promotion they do, if you notice who they pay attention to and who they want to attract, it's not us, it is
Hmm.
the customer. And
Yes.
they want to attract the customer, and you are a service provider. The clients that you may get on Fiverr are not ours. They are Fiverr's, unless some kind of way you do something and you get them off Fiverr or whatever. But I smacked the hands because I said Fiverr's not stupid. They're not dumb. They see what you're doing. They know if I'm doing a gig swap with you, I'm a voice actor. They see that. They see you're a voice actor. They're not dumb.
Hmm.
Believe me when I say those types of activities will cause an algorithm change because they will want to knock that out
Right.
because we're gaming the system. And so I'm trying to get people to see stop trying to game the system, instead try to work within the framework of the system. And what's so funny is with all the different groups that are out here for voiceover and Fiverr and all these other groups that we have, people are asking obviously tons of questions on how to do certain things, but I don't think anyone is doing the level that probably you're doing, which is paying attention to the community. the blogs, the forums, and
Right.
seeing what's going on in there. And I think if people spent more time there, as opposed to in some of these Facebook groups that don't have the answer most times, but if they actually went to the source of which Fiverr is the source, to see what is what, they would probably learn a lot more. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. And I think the essential tools that I found out, I think there's a lot of stuff I've kind of experimented myself with,
Mm-hmm.
that has been helpful to me. But I do see some things where, you know, where the essential basic knowledge that I got as far as to really build upon where I'm at were from the blogs, as you have mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
and how to properly make your gig shine and make your gig get noticed more. And there's just
Mm-hmm.
some really basic information that you can do to really get your gig noticed more, that they do provide you on that level. And there's also some blogs out there where people are saying, hey, if you want to, you know, how do you start out on Fiverr? How do you get started? How do you
Mm-hmm.
get the ball rolling? How do you, you know, what do you need to concentrate on as a newbie? And there's a lot of blogs out there, and there's a lot of information out there that people have experimented, that have experienced it, and that have gone on to be more and more successful when they first started out, that really kind of give you those kinds of tools. And there's a lot, and the other big thing too is paying attention to top-rated sellers, because a lot of top-rated sellers will freely give you information on how they got to where they got as far as Fiverr is concerned, and they usually do share a lot of those basic tips with you. And I've gotten a lot of great information from top-rated sellers.
Let me put a pin in this right there and ask this question about reaching out to top-rated sellers, because it's not a common practice or something that they want as far as top-rated sellers for you to reach out to them to ask for advice. That would annoy the crap out of me if I'm getting a lot of work and all of a sudden I've got to stop because if I don't answer your question on Fiverr, I get dinged for not being responsive to a question, and it's irritating. I literally, when someone has asked me a question on Fiverr, have put a period and just responded so I could just say I responded. It's like, so let's talk about how to actually reach out to get help on Fiverr from some of these top-rated sellers.
Well, the best way to do that is to find their YouTube videos. One of the things that Fiverr does allow you to do in the description is for you to put the URL of your YouTube video in there. They won't let you put your personal website, because I've tried that before, and they knock you for that. But they allow you to do YouTube or iCloud or just services that just provide those types of ways of allowing you to put your audio on there.
So we have to do some investigation. We have to go click on these top-rated sellers, see if they've got a YouTube link, and go try and figure out. And then that's an easier way to reach out to them, because you can probably have an email address or something in there as well when you get to the YouTube channel, because you can leave a comment, ask a question on any YouTube channel, and most people that have YouTube channels like myself are responsive to questions that come in.
Now, some of them in their description, now there is one guy in particular, I'm not going to say his name so he doesn't get pummeled with a million questions. He says, hey, contact me anytime if you have some questions. And he doesn't mind that. And you're right. You do have to be cautious, because I think when it comes to top-rated sellers, they'll have 15, 20, orders in queue, and they're working around the clock. So, yeah, you do have to have some type of you have to be courteous and manners, and make sure you're doing it the correct way when you contact them. Sure.
Absolutely. All right, so let's get into this here, some of the nuts and bolts. I'm just starting out on Fiverr today. Tell me the progression of what it is that I need to do. I'm saying me, but what do I need to do as a brand new person on Fiverr to build up what I need to build up in VoiceOver to start getting work?
Number one, you have to get orders no matter what it is. You have to get those orders, and you have to get reviews. One of the things I've tried out, I don't know if they encourage it or discourage it or not, but I got a couple of my friends that I know and family members. That's how I first started. I got my sister.
How I did it. Yeah.
Yep. So they give me at least 5 reviews, and that's in a lot of blogs too. And whether I give them a voiceover or not, we go through the order process. I pay them through PayPal, $6 because there's always a fee associated, a dollar fee. So I pay them $6 and they say, hey, you know, Will's wonderful, he's great, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But then the first step that you have to take place is, okay, you're a new seller. So you have to get to level 1. Now, it has changed a little bit as far as, but I'll just give you my experience because I know the threshold has changed as far as going from different levels. But the number one thing you need to concentrate on is getting to level 1. And a lot of people get annoyed with this, and I understand that, but the buyer request section is essential to do that. But I think before, let me just back up real quickly here.
Sure.
I think you've got to establish your first gig. Don't try to do everything at once quickly. Don't come out with 20 different gigs if you're just starting new, because it's not going to help you. But if just start with at least one right now, and I think the big part of it is finding key words. When I first started out, when I had my first one, I was looking through Fiverr and I'm finding myself, okay, what are some competitive keywords that people are using right now? Okay. One of them that consistently coming up, because it is a global website, is American male voiceover.
Yep, you see it all day long. All day long.
You see that all day long, and you go ahead and it's just a general one, and there's a lot of them. But the nice thing about it is I believe that Fiverr rewards the new sellers by putting you on the front page for like a couple of days.
They do. I believe they do that.
Yeah. And so that's something that could help you. But you want to get your keywords right. And a lot of people I've noticed, it's just like, oh, I started Fiverr and I can't get any orders. And I'm just looking at their keywords. They're not even mentioning voiceover in it, which is obvious. You know, voiceover everything is where you need that to be. American male, or male voiceover. Male and female is a big deal. And there was one lady that I was talking to that didn't even have male or female in it when it came to voice. I mean, those are important things. And the way to do that is you just do a search and find out what are some typical keywords. And you can see the keywords right on the top of the line there when you're doing a search.
Yeah.
And when you're filling out your profile itself, there are some places where you can put those keywords. You want to make sure. And the best thing too is people need to do this instead of doing this blind. They need to find out who are the most successful top-rated sellers out there in voiceover, and find out what they're doing. Take a look at their gigs. Yeah. What are their keywords? What are they talking about? And mimic that. They don't care. And it's something that Fiverr encourages. Pay attention to these top-rated sellers, how their profile looks. Make sure you fill out there's a frequently asked questions section, which is very, very important because it allows people to get some more information from you. And so you get that put together when you feel confident in that. The next step is just really work like crazy and do. And I did this for a while, and I'm telling you, it can be annoying. I had one guy who wanted me to do a YouTube channel, and it was some of the most juvenile, ridiculous content in the world, and he wanted $5 for 1,000 words. And I was like, oh, great, I got started. But he gave me steady work. But after a while, I'm ready to blow my brains out with this thing, right? Yeah. So, but at the same time, you've got to pace yourself. Now, there are some things where I think you need to be very careful about, and that is definitely if there's this huge workload, and there are people that are like this, they want $20, $30 for you to do a audio book, and you better know what you're getting into.
You don't want
to be in a situation where you're spending 3 to 4 weeks on something that they're giving you $20 for. And there are people on Fiverr, especially from third world countries, that are like, yeah, here we go. This is what I got. And they know that there's a lot of people that are really interested in getting started and finding orders because they know that they're desperate to do that. But I think that's step number one, is that you want to get to level 2. And I think that's the big deal. And I believe the threshold is getting $2,000. You get $2,000 under your belt, you're finally at level 2. But in order to do that, you got to hang out in the buyer request sections that's on there. From what I understand, they give you 10 chances to reach out to different people on the buyer section a day. But what they do is that, because I really was on this, the best time to do it is in the morning.
Okay.
I'm Eastern time, so I usually 6 a.m. around that time, because that's when a lot of those first come out. When you see something that's good and there's already 30 people that have that have responded to it, the chances of you getting it have decreased. But if you
Right.
get on right away, that's a good thing. That's 10, but they do update it. They give you another 10. So let's say you're finished with your 10 and that you can't do anymore. You've already gone through 10 different requests. I think at like 8 o'clock at night, right around that time, they up.
Ah,
So that's a little trick right there. So you can go back.
okay.
But I mean, I lived on the buyer request section all the way up to level 2. And the good thing about that is that you're using that 1 gig. They're responding to that 1 gig.
Get
They're giving
reviews.
it's moving up in the ranks, and Fiverr does a lot of favors for new people to get it going. But you've got to have your gig correct in order to do it. You got to have the right keywords. Find out what other people are doing. Another part of it too, I almost forgot, is you've got to have a video presentation of your work. And they have said over and over again, the most effective ones are the ones that people are presenting themselves and introducing themselves. Hi, my name is Will Stoff. I'm a voiceover actor. I'd love to do your work.
Yeah.
And here's samples of my work, and it goes for a minute, and it's a good-looking video, and the best-looking video is going to win, I think, in my opinion. And they give you an idea, and so you have your demo right there, which goes for about a minute and 15. That video has to be there. Some people don't put videos on there,
Right, right.
And they're going to look at you first. And I think the thing is that as far as, what do I choose, $5 for what or $10 for what? My thought process is this, and I might be completely wrong about this, but and the reason why is I put $5 for 200 words, and I've been at 200 words for a while now. And they're like, well, why not 75 or why not 100? It just seems to work that way. When I changed it to $10 and I moved that increment up, all of a sudden, this was months ago, everything just froze. I got nothing. And I just like, wow, what the heck happened? And I'm thinking to myself, well, I'll just wait. I'll just be patient. 1 week goes by, 2 weeks go by. And this was like when I first started. So I think it's been a while. So I decided, you know what? I'm going back to $5 for 200 words. And maybe I might change that number, maybe not. But the thing is, like you said, Earl, is that you can structure it any way you want. Even at $5 for 200 words, you can come out with, $70 orders, $80 orders, $100 orders. Or more, depending on what it is. So.
I think, a lot of times I'm looking at some of the comments that are coming in on the stream, asking, has Fiverr hurt the industry? Fiverr's gone downhill. People talking about, the buyer request section not being, which I understand. That buyer request section, they want the world for $5 a lot of times. But I look at it this way with Fiverr. Love it or hate it. When you're just starting out, in any industry, you're going to eat dirt for a while until you make a name for yourself. I look at Fiverr for a lot of people as a proving ground. Not only for, are you good at voiceover, but also, are you good at business? Do you know how to go ahead and raise your rates when it's ready to do that without being scared to raise your rates? I jumped from $40 to $100 and still made money. And what I figured out is I can charge $100, $150, $200 for a gig and make as much money, if not more, in less time than when I was charging $5. And so you've got to use this platform, if you're going to use the platform, as a building block and understand that today you might have to charge $5 to eat dirt for a while as an intern or whatever, trying to develop on this platform, and understand that you can grow. I don't care if it's Fiverr. I don't care how people look. There are plenty of people out there making tons of money on Fiverr. Will, how did it feel making $3,000 in a month?
It was just euphoric. It really was euphoric. It would just, I was looking at stats and I was looking at the orders coming in, and it just blew my mind. And I'm going to be honest with you. I think one of the things that I look for is that I need at least one. I need at least one really sweet order to come through that really kind of makes the whole month. And I've always had one of those. One was a real pain in the butt one time. It was a $400 order to dub a movie from Spanish to English with 2 characters, and they were the main characters.
Wow.
And I don't have the I don't have that kind of movie software at all. I've got my microphone, and I got my laptop, so I had to figure that out. That took forever. That was a real pain. The guy loved it, and I'm glad I charged him $400 for it. And it was it was a movie about these guys cutting off people's heads and then shrinking them, right? And it was actually a true story about what was happening in Venezuela.
Oh, wow.
In South, yeah. So which was very, very wild, but that was quite the experience. But I think right now, and I think this is where it's been key for me, and I think a lot of people will attest to this, the audiobooks are really making it. And if you have the big part of it is I had a really good audiobook month this month. I'm doing right now currently 3 audiobooks at the same time. And I talked to one guy who's been kind of my mentor, who's doing audiobooks that is kind of on the same page as me. And I ask him a lot of questions. I email him back and forth, and I get feedback from him. And I said, doing 3, is that just way too much? And he says, no. If you really kind of space out the time and you put the effort in, you could easily do 3 with the time that you have. It's not that huge of a task. And He basically told me, hey, I give people 30 days to do it. But I tried to over deliver, and I'll tell them that I'm going to put this order for 30 days, but I'll try to get it done at least in 2 weeks. But he always, as a safety valve, he always gives them 30 days.
Yeah.
That's the expected.
And you need that on most audiobooks.
Yeah. Absolutely.
There's a lot of work that goes with that. This whole algorithm thing, I've heard people talk about not only Fiverr, but you've heard it on YouTube, you've heard it with Facebook and changing algorithms and things like that. Here's the thing. And I hope this shocks some people into a realization. You don't freaking own the platform. It is not your business. It's theirs. If you don't want to play in the ecosystem, go somewhere else or develop your own platform. Algorithms, I can promise you this, will continue to change. So if you don't have the fortitude to stick it out, leave.
Right.
They don't care. They don't care. You're given an opportunity to do something on a site, whether it's Facebook, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Fiverr, for free.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It's not yours. They have the right to change whenever or how often they want to change, the same way you have the option to change as much as you want to change. Get the freak over it. Okay, now that I've said that, when you are looking at some of the things, because we had a great conversation on yesterday, and I said we should have taped that yesterday afternoon. There are some things you do on the fringes. That's what I look at it as, on the fringes of voiceover, like impressions or audiobooks that aren't right there within like voiceover, like doing commercials or things of that nature. And what I got from that, from the conversation that we had on yesterday afternoon, is that you've got to really differentiate yourself with 1 or 2 of your gigs. That is something that could be very specific, that is search engine friendly. Talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. One of the things that I walked into this, because I've been doing impressions my whole life. And when I was a kid, I would do Ronald Reagan when he was president, George Bush, and everything that I seen on Saturday Night Live.
Right.
Don Carson and all this other stuff, and bringing, and even some recent comedians like Gilbert Gottfried or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I came to this platform and I realized, well, guess what? You know what? People aren't searching for Sean Connery. People aren't searching right now. They're not saying, "Oh boy, who's that guy that does that Sean Connery impression?" No one gives a shit. He's been gone off the scene for 20 years, right?
Right.
Or all these other people, and I found out that and I remember this. Last Comic Standing when that was on. There was some guy that was in front of the judges that did a George W. Bush impression at the time, and he said, "You know what? That's old hat. Nobody's doing that anymore. Nobody cares about that." Mm-hmm. And that's very true. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that you've got to find what's kind of trending and what people are searching for, and take your skill, no matter what that is, and try to adapt it to this. And one of the things I want to say quickly, because I've run into this from people that I know in voiceover industry that are pros, that are kind of looking at Fiverr or other things, or trying to start a business, and they're really just kind of playing around, and they're giving all these excuses why they can't do it. He said, "Oh, well, I don't want to do Fiverr because you're just good at impressions, and I don't do impressions." And it's just like, well, that really has nothing to do with it. What you need to do is you need to find number one, what you're good at, what your skills are good at. And also, if you're not sure and you've done a couple of orders somewhere else, let's say you've done a couple of explainer videos and you're
Right.
seeing a trend with that, or you're doing a voiceover like you've done a bunch of voicemail greetings, okay? You have something to show for that, or you've done some commercials or car commercials, or you've done something in particular that you're good at that fits in the whole voiceover sphere.
Right.
You need to do is you need to make a gig out of that and get very, very good at it. Now, when I first got on the scene, I had no clue how to do Donald Trump at all, and I tried it and it sucked. I don't know how to do it. I'm trying to figure it out. I had no clue, especially with Morgan Freeman. And when I
Oh
first
my
started up,
gosh.
people were like, "Oh God, you're terrible." But
Yeah.
I listened to comedians. I listened to him, and now I think I've really got it down. And it's something that is I'm seeing a lot of orders come in, and just the way it's put together, and everything else. And it's because I've always done impersonations. So I tried to take my skills and abilities and
Hmm.
match it with what we're looking for on Fiverr. And that way you marry the two, and there you go. Now, I might have some impressions that are some obscure people that they like to hear, Rodney Dangerfield, or something I've done in the past
Hmm.
of people that are no longer living or whatever. But that's very few and far between. It's all Donald Trump. It's all Morgan Freeman. I've done prank calls with the whole Donald Trump. That's a gig in itself. So I've come up with all these different ways. But the other big part of it too, like I said again, is searching. What are the people that are doing Donald Trump impressions doing? How are they doing it? Are they just doing birthday greetings? A lot of them doing birthday greetings. There's other people doing commercials.
Hmm.
There's other people doing YouTube videos on it too. Morgan Freeman is one of these deals that everybody wants his
Yeah.
voice.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of this before, but I just kind of found this out the other night, and I was listening to an old Larry King interview that he was having with Morgan Freeman. Is that during the political season, there's all these political commercials with all these
Right.
fake Morgan Freeman people narrating all these politicians of how wonderful they are, and people think, oh, it's Morgan Freeman impersonating these guys, and they're getting away with it because they're not saying it, and they're asking Morgan Freeman about it. Politico's involved in all the media, and they're asking him, "Do you endorse?"
Right.
Don't know, I don't. So it's one of these things where he's such a compelling person, that they want him on stuff. One of the things I found with that is that I just don't I make my own gig here of my Morgan Freeman impression, but then I make another gig saying, hey, I will do Morgan Freeman impression doing your explainer video. Explainer bit video is a big keyword.
You're getting
The other
into the SEO of that now. You're getting into the keywords of that,
Right.
which is so important because people are going. If the only thing that you have on your gig, I will do your your voiceover, American male, whatever, because that's done to death. The American male, the American female, whatever. Everybody has that. You're going to get lost in a sea of everything. There's got to be something, from what I'm hearing you say, in that description that sets you apart from that. And that takes work. It takes investigating. And it's going back again to so many people asking questions, but not going to the source to figure out how to work it, to figure out how to actually operate in that ecosystem. You're going to have to look at gigs. You're going to have to see what works, what doesn't for someone else. But that doesn't mean it's necessarily going to work for you. You've got to figure out by study, by trial and error, by testing. It is not going to be easy to do. And people are paying $200, $300 for courses to figure this out, and they're still lost. And so until you realize that what you pay attention to will grow. So if you get into understanding what Fiverr, what Upwork, what voices.com, voices 1-2, if you get into that ecosystem and learn it, that's where the rubber's going to meet the road, and you'll understand how to separate that out. But I don't know that a course is going to teach you that. This is hard work.
Right. And I think a lot of times the courses are just too that they're giving you just basic information too. They're not really giving you the secrets that are involved, and they'll tell you something that it's true, but how is it fleshed out? What are the details?
Exactly.
To make that happen. And that's what's got to happen with you going forward with this. And it's almost like you're becoming this popular person that, hey, this is the guy that's on Fiverr that does X, or Y or Z. He does this type of voice. He does something for this or that. I think one of the things too is that's been helpful for me is realizing my limitations too when I'm
Okay.
putting gigs together. Yeah, I'll have a keyword and I can compete to some extent, and it's good to test out gigs. I'll give you an example for one that I was mentioning to you this on the phone the other day. I'm not really that good with video. I'm not going to make. I'm not going to be able to make these impressive splash videos. I don't have all this crazy software
Hmm.
to make that happen at all. So I'm limited at that. And one of the things that I did, I think, for my parents when they were selling their home,
Oh yeah.
I made a video of a YouTube video of the homes, and that showed pictures and an explanation. And I said, okay, well, let me search real estate and see what's going on Fiverr. Oh my goodness, there's all kinds of stuff for real estate when it comes to brochures, when it comes to videos, especially because real estate agents are always on the
Right.
social sphere. So what I did is like I will narrate your real estate video, narrate it,
Wow.
make it very.
Thinking
But
outside the
but I
box. Thinking outside the
yeah
box. Doing research and
right.
and seeing what possibilities are there and testing it. You don't know if it's going to work or not until you try it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the thing is that I'm not getting swamped with these orders from real estate because there's a couple of people that do both. They voice it, they got a decent voice, and they got some amazing, really impressive video software to make it
Sure.
really shine in life. But at the same time, I've gotten maybe I don't know 5 to 10 orders over the course of the year of somebody who wants they like my voice, they want it narrated for whatever reason. It's come up in the search engine. It shows up on the front page,
Right.
okay, of the real estate because I've gotten the orders, I've gotten the reviews. Fiverr's recognizing I'm a level 2 seller. Fiverr's recognizing that I have over 300 reviews. That plays into it too.
Sure.
That's why I'm sitting on the front page where I'm at, and I'm competing against level 1 people and new sellers. And so that plays into it too. I think another one too is the whole voicemail. There's some really stellar
Yeah.
voicemail,
Telephony. Yeah.
IVRs. One of the things
Hmm.
that was help. Now I get some orders on that because it's super cheap too, and my voice is all right with that. But I put two keywords in for the voicemail. I put voicemail as a keyword, and I put IVR as a keyword, and I put mail voice. I added those three elements in that, and you put in IVR, I'm showing up on the front page. You
Yeah.
put in voicemail, I'm pretty decent there, or mail, or just mail IVR,
Uh
or
huh.
mail voicemail, or or American, I'm not sure, but so those things kind of all converging into one.
Hmm.
So I have the chance of getting an order based on somebody who might search for IVR,
Hmm.
who might for voicemail, who might search for mail and IVR, or a combination of those, and I'm going to show up. I'm going to show up in the search, and they're going to see me on the top of the page, and they're going to pick me first,
You know,
because hey, it's on the top line. So
with that too, and going back to the community, the forums, and the blogs, I'm thinking, and you might be able to correct me if I'm wrong. I'm thinking that Fiverr sees how active you actually are in these communities, and that might pump you up even more by being active in the communities. You have any thoughts on that?
I absolutely believe I absolutely believe
Okay.
that. I can prove it too.
Okay.
Um, I can prove it too. So I don't know if you've been on Quora. Have you been on
Yeah.
Quora?
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
get questions all the time from Quora. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Oh yes. I asked a Fiverr question, right?
Uh huh.
And this guy gives this long answer, and I'm looking at him, and then I go to the forum another day for something else, and he's showing up again with an answer, the same guy. So yeah, this guy's stalking me. You bet he is. And the thing is that I think too, I've learned a couple of things too. Is that um, you've got to play nice with Fiverr. You've got to be respectful, and I think they really do stalk you. I think they really do track you down
Hmm.
for the most part. That is very true. And I had another story, but I think I just went blank on I can't remember what made my. But I mean, there was another story similar to that. That they're going to pay attention to you. And the other thing too is I think top rated sellers. One guy, I think his name is News Mike. He's always showing up,
Okay.
he's always making comments. He's always adding to things.
And I think that's a key thing because the Fiverr has their marketing that they do, and they are concerned about the customer experience, not yours. They're concerned more about the customer experience than yours, which rightfully they should be. And when they see you involved actively in the community on blogs and in the forums, helping, giving tips, adding your 2 cents into the conversation, and that's why I asked a question that I believe that when you do that, they see you concerned about the ecosystem of Fiverr, and they're going to in turn, do something to promote you more or whatever, So I think as a business owner trying to make it on Fiverr, you've got to be actively involved in what's going on Fiverr.
Absolutely, that is true. And here's what I was going to tell you is that at one point in time they were tinkering with an idea, and I think a lot of Fiverr people didn't like it because it was very subjective. Mm-hmm. You will go ahead and you'll look at all these gigs of, let's say, Morgan Freeman, for instance. You'll have a little description under one that says Fiverr's choice,
Yeah.
And it's,
yeah.
What is that based on? Is that based on orders? Is it based on that people like them or don't like them or reviews? What exactly is that based on? And people really didn't like it because they're picking and choosing, and they just disappear. But I thought so. Yeah, they're definitely paying attention.
The other thing here, because when we talk about keywords and things of that nature, I hate the fact that they start off with "I will." And you can't change that. It's like, I will. What I'm thinking about doing, and everything is a test, is ignoring the I will and just put keywords in that make absolutely no sense and just use keywords of the people that I'm trying to attract.
Well, there is one that I did that too because I felt like in order to make that happen, there was no, in order to make it all fit, I had to just put a whole bunch of keywords in. And that was my Dickie V impression. And that was good for maybe a gig or two. I got in too late because March Madness was well over.
Oh, yeah.
Basketball season was over and whatever when I decided to do it. But what I put is like I had celebrity impression. I had Dickie V, which doesn't really show up. So I just I can put it up whatever I want. But the big thing was celebrity impression and basketball and putting that all in there together. So it was all a bunch of hodgepodge of keywords.
Okay.
Impressions or impersonator. And I put that in there. But the big thing is that one keyword that I wanted was basketball. I type in basketball, which is one of these things that, you've got some decent sellers, but it's not a consistent thing. It's not like every single day somebody's searching basketball during the basketball season. People are looking for flyers. People are looking for videos. People are looking, but it's only a seasonal type of deal.
Sure.
But the fact that I've gotten an order or two kind of makes me show up in this very kind of, like you said, niche community, a niche gig that not everybody is searching for all the time, but it's sitting out there. So hopefully next year when basketball season revs up,
ready to go.
There you go. Absolutely.
And staying on this line with the keywords in your description or whatever, the title, what is it called? The title? What is it called? Whatever it is, the title. Okay. So go ahead and use American male voiceover, but you got to add something to it to make it stand out, like specifically explainer video, whiteboard video, whatever. Something has to stand out so that because when people come to Fiverr, it is a search engine and they're going to search certain things. And if you've got that word in your description against everyone else that just has American male voiceover, but you actually have the description in the keywords, explainer video, or whatever it is that you're trying to do, is that really a differentiator for everyone to pay attention to?
Well, I think you've got to weigh it out. I mean, everybody, for one thing, one keyword is voice, and whoever owns that, whoever's at the front page is that, they're all top-rated sellers and they're just making huge bank.
Okay.
But I think you really, part of it is tweaking it a little bit and also searching for yourself. How does it show up? Now, I've put stuff together that, I have, let's say, explainer video at the very end. It's really not showing up where I need it to show up. So the big thing is that when you put it all together, give it some time. Once they put your gig up, search for yourself. Where are you showing up? And they give you two different tabs. Mm-hmm. They give you the relevant tab and they give you the bestseller tab. Now, my thought is that people are usually don't even notice that until they've spent some time on Fiverr. But relevance shows up first before bestseller.
Right.
So you've got to kind of gauge it, and you've just got to tweak it. Now, that's the thing. And I think if let's say, if you feel like these words are too much, and some of these words like American male is one of these things that it's either going to work for you or it's not.
Okay.
And I think if you're on the third page, no matter what you do, and some people, and here's another thing that I think people mistakenly do, and I've seen this, is they make it super, super cheap. $5 for 1,000 words, American male, but thinking that they're going to get all this traffic because you're super cheap and you're going to,
Right.
It doesn't work that way because they're looking at two different things too. They are looking at price. So eventually you do have to raise your rates. You have to raise your price. And I think what I do, and since you had him on before, funny guy Tim, we both do a Donald Trump impression. Yeah. And I tinkered with that gig for a while. I moved it up to $10. I moved 200, and it didn't do anything. And then I just said, I'm just going to stick with this until I feel it's popular enough, and then I'm going to see what he's doing.
Right.
I think the big thing is the gig extras is where I think that's where the money is made. It's not so much $5 for 75 words or $5 for 100, 10 for 70. Yeah. And I'll give you a great example.
Please.
And I won't even bring up funny guy Tim because I think he's doing everything correctly. He's kicking butt on this too.
Yeah, he is. But
he had for his commercial rights $35. So I said, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and do that. So what people come in, they order something. It's a commercial gig. I say, okay, there's your word count. That's $5. I'm adding $35 for commercial rights. So that's automatically a $40 gig right there.
Right.
It could be 2 lines. So I think the big part of it too is that it's not so much keywords necessarily. It's just finding out when you're looking for something in particular, who's kicking butt on who's on that top line that you see. When they're on the top line, that means that they're making the most money. Okay, from left to right. The person on the left, in the far left-hand column on the top row, is making the most money, is the most popular.
Okay.
What is he doing? And funny guy Tim has been there many times before. I don't know if you know this, but he's been on Leno before. There's a video of him with William Shatner.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Great video. So you see what they're doing, but that's really where the money is being made. And one of the things that I've noticed too, and this is why I really believe that explainer video is gold. And I think a lot of people that don't pay attention to other different gigs that are not necessarily voiceover gigs, but let's say video gigs or whatever.
Okay.
That explainer video, there's a lot that goes into it. I mean, you've got video syncing. I charge anywhere between $10 and $20 per minute to sync it correctly because it's always syncing. Commercial rights, you add that onto it. And the word count, a lot of times if this explainer, it's going to be a little bit longer than the average one. So you get those 3 elements right there. And the explainer videos that I've had come through have been at least $70.
Okay.
At least $70 gig, if not more. So all of a sudden you see this. Okay, boy, I really need to get on this. Versus, hey, I'll do your birthday greeting, which is all $5 every day.
Yeah.
You feel like a stripper on a pole getting $5. So,
they get 20 now. They get 20 now. But
that's right. There is one other trick too that I did want to bring up, and just got a stream of consciousness thought here, even though you didn't ask it yet. But one of the things that I found that was interesting, if your gig is doing real well, I think sometimes people want to push it and get more, try to make it more. Make sure that one gig, at least one gig in particular, is really taking off, is doing well. You're getting traffic, you're getting regular orders. Then you can slowly increment the price a little bit with the gig extras. One of the things I found was key, especially if you get a lot of orders ones and you're sick of doing $5. Okay, after one that's real popular, it's $5, $5, $5 because it's all these people wanting personal stuff, which is $5 all day for 200 words, and there's no broadcast rights, there's no commercial rights. It's just 5 or 10 or whatever.
Yeah.
Is I write in order to give my clients the highest quality possible. I will do no order under $20. My gig is still $5 for 200 words, so when you're putting in your order, I mean, it does count, the word count is there, but you have to get it up to 20. So I started that with one gig. One of my gigs is that they have to do at least 20. in order to get that particular
Great.
gig. I won't do it for anything less. I found something else too, is that in order to get more retention, when the $35 commercial rights, when I'm competing with everybody else, is a little bit higher than everybody else's. So I will get occasion, no, I don't want to pay commercial rights. I don't want to cancel that. And I thought to myself, well, I'm really using posture. They're going to pay this, or I'm not going to do their order for them. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I got to start thinking like the Fiverr website and not my own, and I got to put that hat on before I put on entrepreneur.
The Fiverr ecosystem. Yep.
Yeah. You got to think of you're right, the ecosystem. And so what I did is I established this, and this has been gangbusters, because my goal is to get.
I'm excited because I know what you're going to say.
My goal is to get at least $20 per order at a bare minimum. That is my goal. I'd love to get 40 if I can get it with commercial rights, but if I can't, and they're balking, they're just, no, I don't want to do it. I just going to, I can't do this. I'm sorry, it's not going to work out. I say, and so all of a sudden I have this in place. I say every Friday I got my half off hookup special. Okay, every Friday is half off Friday, which means I will give you half of the order. So so your gig right here is $40. It's $35 for the commercial rights. It's $5 here. I'll give that to you for $20, and I'll just order it. I'll just send it. I'll deliver it Friday. I'll even go to that extent, right? Mm-hmm. And if they have extenuating stir, say, well, I got a deadline, and don't worry about it. We'll just make this a special deal, and you can just get it for half off. And it really, really works well when I've got a big fat order, and this guy's got like 150, and you don't want to do it. And it's just like, what do you do? Oh, yeah. Can't do it. Sorry, it's going to be on 50. It's just like, no, I mean, I'd rather take 70 than 150 or 50 instead of 100. To establish, so I get more retention, and they really, really, really like that a lot. There is one other key that I think
Black Friday sales, everybody. Black Friday sales. Go ahead and message all your past clients. Friday, Black Friday sale this Friday, today. Go ahead and message all your old clients. You might get a bunch of orders in today. You never know.
That's right. I almost forgot to tell you that. Yeah. This part of the way that Fiverr is set up is that you have these auto responses that you can create on your own. You just click on an auto response, create it, you save it, and when things are dry, I'll go back and I'll go to my past clients I haven't heard from a while from, and you have 300 of them. They're all listed, because they've come through your system and they've purchased something, okay, and you've delivered something to them. They're all there for you to go and send them a message and give them that, hey, I got that deal, and they'll come back. And when things, like especially around the holidays, I mean, during Christmas time, things really get dry for me. I did that continuously. I sent them deals. And one of the things that I do, because it's a traffic thing, I'm not concerned about the price anymore. Okay. Is that the last week, and this is ridiculous, the last week of the month, I offer $5 for 600 words, and I waive all gig extras. So I get all kinds of.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I get all kinds of traffic coming in, and there are times where I'm going out and I'm reaching out to people with that special, because for some reason a day or two here I'm not getting the orders. Usually I'm consistently getting 4 or 5 orders during the week, a day, but then there have been some times that hasn't happened. But if I'm not busy and I'm finding myself, I'm just sitting there waiting for orders, I'll go and I'll get all my past people that have gone through the system. So you get repeat customers. Right. And you reconnect with them, especially all of your 5-star ones. And the way Fiverr has it structured, if you go in their back office, you can categorize it by how much they have spent.
Wow!
Top sellers, and how much they have spent from the most to the least, and how many times they've come back. So you can really just kind of target those people to get that traffic, to get that coming in. So those specials, I think, for me, have been key. And I think what I'd like to see, and when I see this, that means that, okay, I'm really connecting. I'm really showing up. Instead of dealing with the people that are balking, I'm getting people that say, hey, I want to get in on your special, because they've seen it, they've investigated your gig, they spent some time with you, you're standing out from everybody else, versus someone that just messages you, hey, will you do this for whatever? And they don't, I mean, they're really just connecting with you there. And that's the big thing, is that person is connected with you. They like you. Yeah. And one of the things that I've been able to do is those types of connections is key, depending on who they are. One lady is not just some average person. She is working with a big ad agency, and all of a sudden offering her that special and connecting with her. One other thing that I almost forgot to mention is this, is that nobody's doing this. I'm doing this. Is you're in voice.
Listen up.
All right. You're in voiceover. Instead of messaging and typing out, because a lot of times you've ever been in an email fight with somebody or a Facebook fight with somebody where, the message doesn't come out correctly because the people are thinking it sounds weird.
Right.
You record a message and you send it to them. That is an instant connection. And I learned that from a network marketing guy.
Love that tip. Love that tip.
Facebook, I leave people audio messages and I get much better response. I'm like, okay. And that right there is just like, wow, this guy has gone out of his way to make and explain. And when you explain things to them, especially people are new to Fiverr and they're confused and they think you're ripping them off because they don't understand the system or whatever or how it works, and you're adding more to it, the order. You have that instant connection there.
Love it.
You're courteous. You leave an audio message. And boy, that just right there makes a return. That you got a return customer by doing that. So
shucks. Well, Will, look, first of all, I want to thank you for being on with me today. I put out the request yesterday for people. You were one of the people that came up that said, hey, yeah, you should talk to Will. And you graciously agreed to come on, and I thank you for that. Is there any special way that you would like for people to connect with you online or anything like that?
I think the easiest way to do it is because, when you're doing Fiverr, it's this all typed out bunch of crap. Staffsolutions.com. And you're going to find my Fiverr gig there. You're going to find my audio. You can connect with me. You can message me. But Staff Solutions, STAUFF, 2 Fs, as in Frank, staffsolutions.com.
Awesome.
I'm there all day.
Awesome. Well, look, guys, we didn't take any questions today because, look, we've had a lot to say. Leave in the comments. If you've learned, tell me in the comments, what's the one thing that is your takeaway today? What is the 1 or 2 things that you need to start implementing right now? And also let me know what other questions you have that maybe we didn't answer in regards to specifically Fiverr. But I want to know what's on your mind and what you want to know and what you're taking away from this broadcast. Will, hang on for me after I go off, and I want to talk to you a little bit more. But guys, hey, please share this video out everywhere. I think a ton of people need this information, and I'm just so glad that we were able to give it to you and give it to you raw. So you guys have an awesome and amazing Friday the 13th, and or whatever day that you're watching this video. But have a great one, and hey, I'll see you on Monday morning. You guys have a great weekend, and see you later. Take care.